Hello students. Today we are going to study class 7th civics chapter Water and the People of Chennai. The heading seems kind of interesting. Water and the People of Chennai. Why are we taking water as something significant and how is it affecting the life of people of Chennai? We will study this in this chapter. Later on, we'll also elaborate the content regarding the fundamental rights of the people. So, to start with, we come up with example of four areas of Chennai: Mylapore, Madaipakkam, Saidapet, and Annanagar. Among these four areas, the first three places, that is Mylapore, Madaipakkam and Saidapet, are regions which are witnessing high level of water scarcity. To start with Mylapore, the zone is facing water shortage and is dependent on borewell water to meet their daily requirement, and on top of that the borewell water is also of bad quality, which is not suitable for drinking purposes. On the other hand, Madaipakkam, it gets water for only once in 4 days, and the people living here are dependent on bottled water for their daily requirement. The area of Sadaipet is facing a very deep problem of water shortage. The region, although gets tap water for about 20 minutes twice every day, but the force of water coming from the tap is so less that it is very difficult for all the people living there to fulfill their requirement of water. Against all these three areas, the place of Annanagar is absolutely different. It is a posh area. It is covered with lush green lawns and gardens, and the water supply is 24 hours. The area is comprised of big bungalows and posh settlements, and in cases of any water shortage or any lag in the water supply, the area is supplied with additional water through tankers, etc. So we see that these four regions are based uh, on the availability of water to different areas and how the people are suffering from water scarcity. The question that rises up here is why? Why do we face these problems, and why can't everyone be on an equal platter when the supply of water, which is an essential content for life here? So, water as a fundamental right for the people and how it is an important part of our right to life. Before we go further into the fundamental rights, let us describe what is a fundamental right. A fundamental right are the powers that people have, the citizen of a country has in their hand, because as a member of the nation, there has to be some strength in their hand, there has to be some rights with them so that they can exercise those rights and take a important stand wherever is required. We majorly have six fundamental rights, Very recently, another right has been added, not in the fundamental set, but yes, separately. It is called right to life. To describe what is right to life is, if we see it in a plain and simple manner, it means that it is a right to live. But just living is not the end. The right to life is comprised of different essentialities of life that are required for living a decent and respectful life. The essentialities, what can the essentialities be? To start with, the basics, that is clean air, clean drinking water, clean areas to live in, sanitation facilities, basic education facilities, which affect the life of people. So, the right to life includes facilities like clean drinking water, clean air to breathe, clean areas to live in, sanitation facilities, ample amount of food to eat, hospital and medication facilities, etc. As a citizen of the country, it is the right of the people to demand these facilities, and it is the responsibility of the government to provide all these facilities. These facilities are collectively called public facilities. The public facilities are the basic requirements of the people, and these requirements are fulfilled by the government. The right to life that the constitution guarantees, it is for all the living persons of the country, and the government holds the responsibility of providing public facilities. The government, it takes taxes, and as we know that in India we have a progressive form of taxation. Progressive is, that is, the more you earn, the more salary you have, the more tax burden is placed on you. It means that the richer people have to pay more taxes, and the comparatively poor people have to pay lesser taxes. This tax money is assembled, and at the beginning of every year you must have heard the term budget is declared. The budget is nothing but a set of plannings which are made by the government, and it is the allocation of all the tax money for the betterment of the people. It decides which area requires more work to be done, and accordingly the tax money is used for providing public facilities. Against these public facilities, there are also another set of facilities which are known as private facilities. Private facilities as against the public or government facilities are basically profit oriented uh, industries, because India is a mixed economy. So we have both the public and private sectors in our country. You may find the facilities that are provided by the government. They are also provided by the private sector. For example, if we have government schools, we also have private schools. If we have government hospitals, we also have private hospitals. But the difference here is that if the government is opening up a hospital or a school, it is created for the sole purpose of welfare, whereas the private facilities are created for the sole purpose of profit earning. You can see the very apparent difference in the fees that they charge in private schools as against the public or government schools. The fees in that you pay to a private doctor, or that you pay to a government doctor in a government hospital. So these private facilities are also an option for the people, but uh, the condition is not open to all. So we see how the facilities provided by the government are essential for us, and how we also as citizen of the country can demand our rights with the help of fundamental rights. But to see the problems that are existing, to rectify these problems, what can be the solution? The first solution that comes to our mind may be selling water rights or water supplying rights to private sector, but it is not a good option. Reason that, as we just studied, that private sector is profit oriented, and if we do this to give the rights of water supply to private industries, what would happen ultimately is that the prices of water would rise, and people will not be able to afford this basic requirement for life. So we cannot do this. The second option that comes uh, as an alternative is a better option. We can do water management. Water management is comprised of different ways through which we can save water. We can do this by creating artificial ponds in village areas, which would save the rainwater. The second method can be water harvesting systems. It is done by accumulating the rainwater that drops on our roofs and then channelizing that water to a storage tanker, where this water either is used for enriching the water table underground, or used for direct purposes. And the most effective manner to save water would be to spread awareness amongst the people how they can uh, stop wastage of water, or how they can use the available amount of water in a rational way. We can tell the children not to waste water when they are brushing their teeth, or not to throw away the extra water from their water coolers in the houses. Things like that, things like so small in number may make a big change, and thus uh, save this essential factor for life. So, this brings us to the end of the chapter Water and the People of Chennai.